Hi, my name is Ethan Lewis, and today I'll be going over video reaction number 4. Video reaction number 4 is how intellectual property powers economic growth. Speaker David Miranda introduces intellectual property at the beginning of this video and why it's important to a business and why it's important to its region. Intellectual property is a fuel that can power a region's economic growth. This goes along with our region's ability to harness, develop, protect, and commercialize. Its collective and collaborative innovation and imagination can fuel the growth of our nation's needs. Our region rises to prominence due to it being a transportation hub way back when. And this is beneficial since our nation transferred from a farming economy to an industrial economy. David also discusses how our nation is now shifting again from an industrial economy to one that is now reliant upon knowledge and information. Corporate valuation has also shifted and has shifted from relying on physical property to intellectual property. Intellectual property is also a measure of a region's entrepreneurship and economic growth. It's more valuable than physical property, but is difficult to protect against these from misuse. One form of protection of intellectual property is a U.S. patent. This provides an inventor with rights to their invention for 20 years in exchange for disclosure. Once the 20 years is up, the public now has use of it. Patents are important because they are one of the most qualifiable measures of innovation and entrepreneurship. Speaker states that it's a leading indicator of where an economy may be going. I thought this was personally interesting because when it discusses entrepreneurship, obviously you think of people with very creative ideas and inventions, and getting this intellectual property patent is very important to them, and also the economy's future for its growing for them, and obviously seeing the inventions and the patents that go along with it correlates to the economy. David also shows a graph during his talk and regards registered patents in New York State from 1980 to 2000. Regions that had sustained economic growth is correlated to patents that have been granted to individuals and companies. He also discusses how our region has taken a leap on clean and green energy. Clean and green energy patents are nearly doubling other regions with patents since 2002. David also discusses that studies looked at exports in various metropolitan regions throughout the state. It indicated that there is 5 regions in which there is $1 billion of exports in goods and services leaving a metropolitan area. 5 metropolitan areas that correlate with the $1 billion of exports, goods, and services leaving it include Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and Albany. David also introduces in his video that there's a book called The Rise of the Creative Class by Richard Flora that indicates that entrepreneurship region will provide the opportunity for innovation and growth. Lastly, David emphasizes that companies grow from technology and technology grows from individuals. I thought David's TED Talk was very interesting and very informative for many reasons. He discusses how obviously intellectual property needs to be protected and how valuable it can be to economics growth. David also stated in the video that people and companies are wanting to work with creative and intellectual individuals, which is often the entrepreneurs. I thought this was kind of touching and personal to me because all my life I've been fascinated with entrepreneurs and how they can put their creativity into inventing something or forming ideas that can be beneficial for them and to the economy. So when it discusses and correlates entrepreneurs to intellectual growth and economic growth, I thought that was really interesting. And then I also had, going back to the patents, I thought this was also very important when he was discussing it. Obviously, previously stated, the U.S. patent system protects an individual's or company's rights to their invention for 20 years. I think that's very important because having your own ideas and inventions patent obviously leads to an individual's or company's success, and it also doesn't allow any other form to be used in your ideas being taken from you, basically. So I thought that these were one of the main takeaways that I noticed during the video. When he was discussing the graph that showed the patents being used in New York State, you can see a steady increase from the 1980s to 2000s. And when David started discussing going green and the economic growth from that, you see a correlation with that. So I thought that was also interesting. And then when he also discusses the shifts that our corporate valuation and our economic and industrial economy has taken, I thought that was interesting as well, because you see a lot of changes from way back when, and you see that there's a lot of things that may have been invented or formed that wasn't there back then. So these are my key takeaways from the video. I thought David did a really good job stressing how intellectual property is important and needs to be protected on various levels. So that's all I have for this video. Thanks.